Hello and welcome to this episode of the Lebenspraxis Podcast, which is a premiere because it's the first time I'm recording a podcast in the rain at the Baltic Sea at the Stockholm Skärgård. And if you want to see where I am and you're listening to this episode through your favorite podcast app, you can go to YouTube and then you see where I'm standing at the water. I wanted to talk about something that is quite personal for me today, because I posted some videos that were very important for me and they got responses that were important for me, and one video was my kind of spontaneous stream that I had on Instagram that I posted later on YouTube also, where I talked about this technocratic society and how people search for salvation in, let's say, very mechanical, technical thinking, and search for solutions through hacks and so on and so forth. So if you want to look at that, you'll find that on YouTube or on Instagram. Obviously always easier to find things on my YouTube channel. And after that, I felt very inspired to make a video on productivity, because it was about productivity in this video as well, about this idea that we have to be productive, and to enhance productivity there's this hacks and there's this things that you need to do and so on. And I made this video where I wanted to present something that I have talked about a long time with my students, that yes, there are all the strategies to be productive, but there is something before that, which is, well, maybe not before that, whatever, but there is something else, which is to look at yourself when doing it. And what I always tell people is the productivity stuff, how I do it, is a self-discovery. Yeah, it's a bit like a meditation in a sense. Like people, like it's a lot of inner work. Like people ask me about meditation. Hey, Joseph, I want to do meditation. And then very often in the beginning, I give them things that I would call productivity, because it is about like observing yourself and what you're doing. And then in the beginning, they're a little bit confused often and say, okay, why this? And then I say, yeah, this is the first step, like, because you need to realize what are you doing in your daily life and observe yourself before you start to go on any super duper deep spiritual path. Obviously, you can also sit down from the beginning and go into the but actually many people ask about meditation, not necessarily because they want to become the Buddha, but because they feel overwhelmed by what is happening in their life and they feel they're lacking focus, and this is always coming from actually lacking sense of direction and a sense of that what you do makes sense, that it actually leads to where you want to go, and then it creates this moment where you look everywhere and nowhere concretely and so on, and then it makes sense to actually really look at that, like what am I doing, how am I doing the things and so on, because it might actually not help you to sit down and just go into yourself and then go into the real world again, but you will most likely have a hard time having this carryover from the one thing into the other. You should directly start to directly do it in the actual doing, in the actual daily life. This should be directly integrated, this self-inquiry. Yeah, and it's not something that you do later after meditation retreats or something like this. No, you observe yourself directly. And there's another thing here that I didn't mention in this video, which is about asking what actually does that, like why is there this idea of needing to be productive? Because shouldn't we ask before that, being productive for what? Being productive for what? Yeah, because I mean there's many things that we're doing nowadays in our world, and I'm not so sure if all of these things that we are doing actually stand the test of really asking, is that something that we really truly find meaningful? Yeah, and this is a discussion like with work, like does work need to be meaningful, yes or no? And in a sense, this discussion started the moment we as a society became rich, I would say. If you imagine being a hunter-gatherer, and in that sense you obviously you don't have work, like going to someone for labor and he gives you money because there's no money and blah 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 blah. Yeah, you just build your huts and you go hunting and you make tools and you make clothes and all this stuff, and it's all very clear that the output of this is directly feelable in your life, like there's no separation. Nowadays we have this separation that is very easy to understand with the following picture. You are nowadays working, most of us, for money, and then after you finish to work, you are actually doing the things that the hunter-gatherer did in his work or her work, which is to get food, to get clothes, to get shelter, like all this stuff. Like you might do it, or you're always doing it, at least most of it, through means of others, like using other people, like you give them money and then you receive food. Yeah, give someone money and you receive shelter, and so on and so forth. But before that, there was an immediacy. I go into the savannah or in the forest and I hunt, or maybe some friends of mine hunt and then they give me something, and then next time I hunt and I give them something, or something like that. It's very direct. So the moment this directness stops, the question of meaning appears, especially in a society that is rich, because if I'm still in a poor society, then it might still be very much just about survival. So I work whatever, and for this I receive money, and for this I can buy stuff. Yeah, in the Western society we have social security systems and so on and so forth, and we have such a vast variety of what we can do. We invented so many different jobs that are possible to do, that nowadays this question comes up. Still, many people are mainly interested in earning money, which is understandable, and in a sense obviously there's nothing bad about it, because the whole work thing, you could say, is surrounded about earning money, so in order that you can buy food and then you can sustain yourself living. So there is a part of our society which is not very interested in playing the money game, and you could maybe call this the people with an artistic mind or whatever. Yeah, not that artists don't want to earn money, but they're definitely not choosing the easy path towards money, because the likelihood of failing at earning money as an artist is extremely high. Yeah, so we have a winner takes it all effect here, where some people earn an incredible amount of money and fame and so on, but most people do not in the artistic world. But on the other hand, we have people that are basically asking themselves, how can I earn a lot of money and how can I create a business? And the business is not about what comes out of me, really, like what do I feel is really needed in the world, but more like where's a niche that I can go into and where I can create a product that is better than other people have, and so on and so forth, and then create this product. And then it can be very helpful for society. For example, if I notice, hey, there are not enough roofers in my area, like I create a business for roofing. Yeah, that's wonderful, no? Okay, we all, like in society, we need people that build roofs. So if I notice this is needed and I can earn money with this, perfect. On the other hand, we have lots of stuff nowadays also through the internet that is just very scammy in the sense, yeah, where people figure out, okay, I create this product. It's not that so no one really needs it, but people like to buy stuff. Or I just need to convince people to buy stuff. And this is a thing that is happening in our society, that we have so much stuff, no? Like everywhere is stuff around, especially when we're in the city. We are surrounded by things that we can buy, and we are surrounded in our houses by lots and lots and lots of different stuff. And some of this we need, some of this is just to like look at. Like, I mean, some of this we need we make stuff with it. It's like practical in a sense. Others is more for aesthetic reasons, or is a memory, or is just in some cupboard or a shelf. And we all have hundreds and hundreds of things that are in shelves. And some of these things we can say, yeah, it's okay that these are in shelves, for example, books. Yeah, other things is like this myriad of cables that we all have. So if you think about sometimes, wow, you know, like so many people on this planet, and we are not all of us, but a substantial amount of us are constantly buying new things, and there's like new cables and new things that we have in our shelves and cupboards and so on and so forth. I sometimes wonder, where's all these things coming from? It's like a wonder that we have all these resources to produce so many things. But this is not really what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about, so see this as a very elaborated introduction, is that my idea of the Lebenspraxis, this idea of doing something in a vast, like the vastness, doing the vastness of what is in front of us, like that, yeah, this like, bah. I felt after the responses that I got for the video that were extremely positive, like positive in a way that I felt, wow, like what's happening? It actually brought a little bit of a crisis, like a micro crisis up in me. And let me explain, because not that there were like a myriad of comments, but there were some very strong comments of people, hey, this is like the best thing I ever looked at on Instagram and something like this. What I felt is, okay, this is, I seem to have struck a nerve here, yeah, talking about this technocratic society, because probably many people feel similar to how I feel, yeah, or at least can relate to how I feel. And I know many people feel similar to how I feel, but I also know that many people maybe struggle to understand what I mean and talk about it. There are all sorts of people. Some are more closer with the way they're thinking and feeling to me, and some not, and so on. Yeah, but I felt, okay, it is almost like there is a need now to continue further this path, because there's something happening here that is probably a little bit different from what is very often talked about, and maybe a little bit of a different twist. And I would like to, yeah, how do I say, to actually with you guys to explore more in this direction. And I also felt this Corona time, it changed a lot. It changed a lot in our society, in that sense that it increased the digital life, like the speed of the change towards the digital life. This increased so much through the Corona pandemic, because suddenly lots of people started to work at home. They have not returned to the offices yet, at least not in Germany. I know people that have been, last time they've been in the office was like several years ago. Yeah, so we are all sitting more at computers, at phones, and it becomes more like with these glasses that appear and so on. And I'm working a lot in the internet as well, like is a daily companion that I would actually prefer not to be a daily companion, in that sense that I am at the moment trying to do the stuff that I'm doing in a way that I only have to use the internet several days per week, but not like almost every day of the week, because I do a lot of online coaching and I do content and so on. And this is all very valuable. Like, it's cool, like it spreads the message, and people are practicing and people are changing their lives and so on and so forth. The thing is that my mission is also, or my vision and mission is to do things with people in their reality, because 2,000 years ago, or even 100 years ago, or even 50 years ago, this wouldn't have been a thing to talk about. Yeah, oh, that we meet in real life. But nowadays it's a thing. Like, I have to say, hey guys, let's meet in real life. Like, let's meet in wherever, like Berlin or in a different place, and practice together. And this is something I want to really push much more again, and to see the internet stuff as what I saw it also before, as a supporting technique for the time when we cannot see each other in reality. And I know many people that are listening to this will never be able to come to Berlin or even to Europe, because you are in all sorts of places on this earth. And of course that's nothing to change, and I hope you still benefit a lot from what I'm publishing, and maybe at some point you have the possibility to take some online coaching and so on and so forth. But I feel like this practice, and I definitely need a group of people that are regularly practicing together, and they can be from all sorts of countries and places, but seeing each other. And now the other thing here that I want to talk about is to practice without the need of a certain outcome, because we are so outcome focused, and we are so focused on time. Like, we are living in time. We ask a lot about how long does something take, yeah, when is the next thing happening, and so on and so forth. Like, there is this timeliness. And did I say this in the beginning already? Anyway, maybe I say now the thing twice, but I have one student, and we talked about productivity stuff, and then sent me a message, and he said, and that was very nice, that this realization that he had, that I realized I don't need to increase my productivity, but what I actually need is presence in my life. To be present, to be in the now. Exactly, I thought. Exactly, because this is what we are so often lacking, because we are already ahead. Always, we are like ahead of ourselves. Yeah, what is the next step? How can I get to the next step? Like like very quickly. So, can we live a little bit less in the time, more in the presence? Is a question I would like to ask. And also, can we be less focused on certain outcome, but more dive and see what is there. Like, when you dive into the water, you don't know what is in the water. This is a very beautiful picture, I think, because it's really like this. I mean, sometimes the water is very clear and you see, but if the water is deeper, you just don't see what is inside of this. Or yeah, you're at the, I don't know, Mediterranean or something. There's a little bit of a surf, and the water's too much moving that you can see anything. And then you dive in, you have your goggles, and you suddenly, different reality. Yeah, there's this fish and blah blah blah, this stuff. Okay, so can we dive into the water, and we don't know what is happening exactly there, but to experiment. Yeah, I like Joseph Frucci always says this, to speculate. I like it how he uses this word, speculate. I'm not 100% sure what he means with it, but this I like so much that I don't know exactly what he means with this, how he uses this word. Yeah, but to try and to see. And this is where it comes a lot to the inner work. Yeah, and this is what I feel is the thing that connects everything, also with the connection. Like I said in another podcast episode, that I care with this Lebenspraxis so much about connecting to yourself, connecting to others, connecting to the world. And we can do this if we're in the presence, and this presence is an inner work in that sense. And all these different practices, like if we move, if we look at how do we eat, yeah, can we craft things, like make things with our hands, or to make music, or to learn something that is like a cultural technique, like a language, or about mathematics, or something like this, that it always comes back to this connection and this inner work and this peacefulness that we are, I think, all searching for also. Not all of us, but many of us. Like this peacefulness of like, whoa, the wideness, the vastness, this. So for the last 2 weeks I was doing very little stuff. I spent a lot of time just lying, sitting, with eyes open, with eyes closed, just going inwards. And what I was exploring is our assumptions. Maybe I can say it like this: our assumptions. We have so many assumptions, and we have so many things that we copy. Think about the word trend. There are trends coming up in the world. Think about fashion. Yeah, some people start to dress in a certain way, then other people start to dress similar. Isn't it a little bit funny? Isn't it a little bit funny that people start to dress a certain way, then other people copy that? Copy how to dress. We are so much in copying each other. And there is things, no, like we say, yeah, it's nice, like through the copying we can connect with each other, and we can communicate with each other, and we can build all together, and so on. We can be together. But it has also there is a weird taste to this phenomena of the trend that is happening, that we see other people doing this and we think, yeah, this is a way, I don't know which is the right way, or is the proper way, or is the way to connect with other people, to not be alone, to be accepted by the other people. And this is why we are doing this. Yeah? This is why we copy what other people are doing. And what happens is that we are all then thinking very similar, and we build these societies, these cultures, like a culture is happening where we are all dressing in a similar way. We're thinking in a similar way. And then, yeah, those cultures that can come up can be very, like, let's say, aesthetically pleasing, but there can be also cultures that, if we look back and reflect about it, think like, oh, what happened there? And speaking from a German perspective, this is something that is a real danger that is happening. Yeah, when people are coming together for the wrong causes, maybe also the wrong courses. So can we examine this? Where do our wishes coming from? Where do our needs coming from? Our thoughts, our ideas? But for this you need to take a step back, and you need to like zoom out and feel like, why do I want that? Why do I think that? Why do I feel that? Like, is that me? Is that my culture? Is that how my peer group is doing things? Have I read this somewhere that this is the right way? And so on. Because we live in this society where also people, like, they behave according to rules. But can we do things according to what we figured out? We feel this is the way. Yeah? This was not a Mandalorian reference, by the way. That we feel this is the way we are doing things. Yeah? And we can generally say no one needs to punish us. Yeah? With Jonas that I'm here with in Sweden, I said yesterday, isn't it a sad thing that we live in a society, or we all live in societies, where you have to be punished, or where we punish people for certain behavior, where it's not like, hey, actually we don't need like we don't need police force or something like this. Yeah, this would be the utopia. Utopia is the place where we don't need violence, because we understand how to be with each other in a way that we don't create unnecessary suffering for each other, but we are like connected, we are connected, we are working together, and so on and so forth. And it doesn't need to be there doesn't need to be a punisher, because it's not happening anyway. Like, no one is robbing anything from anyone. This is just not happening. That would be a utopian society, you know. And Scandinavia is maybe the closest to a utopian society that is existing in this world nowadays. So from now on, I will regularly say and remind people that I want to create a community of practitioners that are asking exactly these questions that I talked about. Yeah, that look for the genuine self, that look for the practice that is in the presence, not in the time, and presence also with physically being present. Yeah, so I want to invite people to write to me and state their openness towards that. Yeah, because I will do trainings and workshops again more. That's my wish. I hope this is happening. Yeah, because I can wish whatever, but the people around me are the ones that support in making this come true, because I can say I do a training, but if no one comes, then obviously it's not happening. So I need people that say, hey Josef, yes, I'm in, like I'm doing this. And also these people need to be ready to, of course, invest some money, because I'm doing this full time, and it's needed that someone is doing this stuff full time. Yeah, and it's only sustainable if I can buy my food and pay my rent, and so on and so forth. Yeah, because I say it because sometimes when I say this, some people say, yeah, I'm all open for it. And the moment I say, okay, there will be a cost involved of coming to Berlin and practicing here with us, or that I come to your city and do something there, and then it's like, okay, I thought we are like a hippie culture there. Here, no, we are a sustainable culture. We're a sustainable culture, and the only way to do it, this stuff sustainable, full time, is if there's some money involved in that. Yeah, so I invite everyone that feels like, hey, that is something that is interesting for me. That is something that I'm burning for, also like that I want to do. This is something I'm open to invest some time in, and maybe coming to Berlin, or maybe you are in Berlin, or you are in a different city, and I will maybe at some point come into this city or that city and spread with the people what I'm working on, because I used to do so many workshops, but through this Corona time it all got a little bit to sleep, and I want to do that much more. Workshops, these practice days, these trainings, and so on, but with the premise that we all let go of having to do certain things, yeah, and needing to achieve certain things, but we're really exploring what is there, what is happening inside of us, what is happening with around us, and so on, and do this inner work, which is also the outer work. All right, this is everything I wanted to say for today. Yeah, feel free to write me an email or a message, and I put you on the list of people that are interested in this sort of work. All right.